My name's Matthew Ravenscroft. Every morning before I go to work, I basically come to like Sam James on my route. I just sit here and I get some time to myself, which is just some quiet time. From the kids and work, it's just a little downtime for me. When I started cooking, I used to work at a chicken wing restaurant. It was vegan, working in a chicken wing restaurant. And then I worked at Crush, which is all scaramouche people. And like, I didn't know how to cook. I was very bad at cooking. Didn't know how to make a soup. If you were like, go get me endive, I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, all my food growing up came from a can or pack. I feel like why I got to stay at Crush is because I also partied. Like, I would go out with the best of them every night till like 4 a.m, right? And it created a lot of camaraderie there, right? So it's like, sure, he can't cook, but like, this guy's got the right attitude to cook. Like, he's asking questions. I would try to learn as much as I possibly could, for better or worse, for everyone else's sanity. When I went to Parts and Labor, I wanted to go because of Maddie, and I'm like, this fucking beast is just like cooking and drugging and partying and getting crazy. And like, I wanted that. Like, I wanted to listen to hardcore while we like cooked. And it also enabled me to also like ramp up partying. We like, when we went out 6-8 hours a night. And then I'd show up again at like noon to work. Like, I remember like basically just like sleep on the floor at one point for like an hour, just like get a little bit of snooze time. And then I'd work for 13 hours. And like, that's what appealed to me at Parts and Labor. I think kitchen culture at the time was like relentless, right? There's only 4 of us churning out 180 covers a day. Like, I was making 110 burgers a night, plus 100 pieces of fried chicken, plus, 10 2-pound donuts. This guy's making 8 cooked. Like, the amount of work and push that it required was definitely like unrealistic, but also like illegal in terms of like a labor board perspective. It's kind of weird because I don't wish it on anyone else. And I wouldn't want a line cook to like grow up in that culture. But at the same time, I'm like kind of sick. There's like a lot of big chefs were coming in. Like, we would have Momofuku team come in with Vice. We'd have like everyone like from El Bulli would come in. We met like Skrillex. We met Tyler, the creator in Odd Future. The dad from the OC came in. Parts and Labor was really popping off. Like, it was really busy, really crazy. It was known for being partying, known for being super excessive. Super Bowl party, everyone's doing ketamine. Someone's having a paint fight in the basement and cops come. Maddie then to Maddie now is, we're both clean. We're both clean and sober, so it's very cool to see. No one gets worse from getting clean, right? Like, your life doesn't dip from getting clean. It gets drastically better. So when we saw that shift, we also saw like a shift in like kitchen culture, right? We saw like a more empathetic leader. We saw a person who like, he always cared and would always hold you up. But there was just a shift, a dynamic shift. And that I think was like really inviting and like really warm. And like, yeah, it's cool to see people thrive and succeed and like just ride that rocket ship. Yeah, super cool. I think what we find now is like a lot of people I used to cook with are stepping out into like more like food adjacent territory, right? I originally worked in like kitchen equipment manufacturing, and I work for all protein manufacturing. And like, the reality is that like our old culture that we were cooking in, like, it's a meat grinder. So you just can't do it forever, unfortunately. You meet cooks and you're like, it's great that you have like a better life and there's a better culture and you're not like getting yelled at and stuff. But then it's also like, you feel this weird nostalgia and attachment to it. I used to go to therapy quite a bit. I think I'm gonna start getting back into it. I just had a job that like didn't allow for it previously as much. I think everyone should go to therapy, basically, for some reason or another. It's not about you have a problem that needs to be solved. It's about building a toolbox to help you solve problems in real time. I think in the industry, like, the ability to have access to like these free services as well, right? Because we talk that a lot of time in services like hospitality, it's low barrier in a lot of ways to get in there working, but it's also can be low pay, like if you're cooking. So, you deprioritize these. Mental health is seen as a frill benefit, right? It's seen as something that's like nice to have, but I don't need to have it. So I think the ability to have this service offered to you for free creates a no barrier way, but also what it does is recognizes that this is a priority that we all need to make. Free mental health services, I think, is super important because it's just as important as your physical health. And like, there's just studies and time again, we see that like our mental health is having such a high impact on our bodies and wearing us down that like, we need to prioritize this, right? Stress is super toxic to us. It wears down our muscles, it wears down our bodies, it wears down our mind. Believe it or not, I'm 37. Like, I've looked the same age from 10 years. At Parts and Labor, I look the same age. Like, that's from stress, right? So yeah, access to free mental health services, it feels like a no-brainer. I feel like there's a funny pipeline of like hardcore guy to like clean athlete guy pipeline that like everyone lives out. And I feel like there's so many people in my life who do it, but like, yeah, running is, I never expected it. Like, I feel like if I stood up, you'd be like, you might as well just put a pair of running shoes on that fridge. Like that has a better chance of running fast than I do. And running just became like a space that's really just for me. Like, I don't really like running with people. I do it. Sometimes I do it every Friday like I did today, but it's really just for me. It's like, it's free. I get to see things. So when I travel, I run because I get to see restaurants that I want to go to, or like that shop I want to go check out, or I see a lot more of a city. Like, I ran in Tokyo at 5 a.m. It's so cool to see the city wake up. So running is also just like a space to, it's like carving a space to like navigate problems, and also maybe realizing your problems aren't really problems, right? You're like, is that a problem, or am I just annoyed by that? And it's like my ego talking, right? And running is also like very humbling. Like, I think I've run for like 5-6 years, but like when the pandemic started and I started running, I was running a half marathon a week because my mental health was so bad. And I hadn't stopped drinking and partying and all this stuff yet. I hadn't fully done it. So it's like, I was like, I just need something. So yeah, and then running's become now like just a great way to like get out, and it's just for me. And I love it. And I hate it at the same time. So there's a clear break, right? So I don't do anything. I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't party, I don't do anything. Like, so 5 years ago, or 6 years ago, I did, and like the path to recovery is bumpy and tumultuous, but also like, you know, I don't feel a ton of stress or anxiety anymore because I'm not in like this fight or flight system, or I'm not like so dopamine deprived that I'm absolutely exhausted. I have 2 kids. I started taking care of myself, like seriously. I started kind of treating it like a job. So I'm like, you know, hey, maybe I don't eat like 2 days worth of calories over a garbage can in a bowl. I wasn't exercising, I wouldn't sleep. Now I prioritize all these things. I'm like, it's just gospel. I want to get out and move my body in some capacity every day. I want to like eat food that's made of food every day. I want to like connect with my kids. I want to have like more of a social life. And I have all of that. And like getting clean, actually, I thought I was like, oh, my social life is like gonna die, because it was so innately connected to going out. And like, I love going out now. Like, it's so fun. Like, it's so sick at midnight to be like, we could drive to Montreal right now. You want to? Like, I can do that. And I think it's so fun. You know, when you're not worried about like maybe like getting stabbed in an after hours anymore, like you got a lot less problems. You know what I mean? Like, that's a real thing that happened to me almost. You realize that a lot of the behaviors I was doing was actually just naturally creating a lot more problems in my life. And now I've stripped it all away, and my life is a lot more simple. I deal with maybe bigger problems like kids and all this stuff, or like I have a bigger job that I find more high impact, but I have a lot less problems. When it comes to a bad day, like what I do to resolve it is like, first, I'm very thankful. I don't have a lot of bad days. I'm a bit like a golden retriever, right? Like, I'm like, okay, like what's next? Like, I'm very happy-go-lucky, I think, in that sense. But it's because I do this practice every day, and the practice is like, today ends and you get another tomorrow. And there are a ton of people who don't get another tomorrow, or there's a ton of people who can't get a better tomorrow because of circumstance. So I always just try to remind myself, right? Like, I don't have the same depth of problems in my life that a significant majority of the population does. And that is really important to kind of keep in the forefront of my mind. And I practice gratitude in my mind. I also recognize, like, you know, I make fake fish and I love my job. And I you know, part of the stress of working in the hospitality industry for me was I would be like, you know, we're having a meeting right now about a hamburger. And like, I don't think that life is worth the stress of me having this meeting about a hamburger in a negative way. So I think it's also like how we managed negative feedback in hospitality, and I think that's changed a lot, is a lot more proactive and a lot more caring now. But yeah, I mean, in terms of how I solve and how I manage through my worst days, is the day ends. I would look at the clock at service, and I'm like, in terrible service, in 2 hours it ends. And I get to do service again tomorrow. and I get another day and I get to try again. And it's like what I do today means I can have a better tomorrow if I'm willing to do it today. And I just think about that every day. Every day I wake up, and maybe I have a bad day or maybe there's a misstep or a learning and whatever. And I just remember that and I get to do tomorrow again better. Every day you do one thing better, it's a lot of betters. Even if it's like this little thing that you do better, right? So I try to remember that, and that gets me through. And also, like, when you have a community of people who really genuinely care about you, you feel safe. And when you feel safe, you can also take risk, right? When you know that you're going to be okay and everything will be okay and people will support you, you're happy to get up every day and like push it, right? And I think if people care about people in hospitality, they'll care a lot more about what are those conditions like working in that kitchen, right? Because when you see a chef like screaming at someone, and you need to be like, that's kind of fucked up, and like I don't really want to support that behavior, right? So yeah, take care of yourself and take care of those around you, really. That, and don't do an 8-ball of Coke every day. That'll help.